So the 5 Agile red flags, those things that you might notice if Agile is going awry in your organization, or indications that you need to pause and rethink. I'll also be sharing green flags that you want to be working towards in each of those cases. So the first red flag is when Agile is viewed as something you do rather than something to be. So you might hear people saying, we don't have time to do Agile. Agile might be seen as a project management tool rather than a wider organizational move towards being more nimble. It might be you're hearing a focus on processes, tools, steps, rather than approach, mindset, values. And you also might notice Agile tools being used, but still everybody making extensive and limiting plans in a waterfall type way. The second red flag to look out for is if the leadership style isn't changing. If you're hearing things like, I need my team to work in a more agile way, how do I get my team to do this? That's a red flag and something to jump in. And if you are leading this change, think about how you can help leadership to understand the change that's needed in their leadership style, have them experience it, bring it to life for them. It can be challenging to point this out, but it's really vital that leadership style is adapting. Otherwise, there's only so far that you're going to get with your Agile transformation. Instead, encourage leadership to think about how they need to adapt their ways of working and their leadership style to enable teams to work in a more agile way. So, for example, if they want their team to be more empowered and make more decisions for themselves, that does require them to let go of control, to focus on the vision that and the why for their team, and trust and provide safety so that their team can deliver the what and the how. The third Agile red flag is when we see people focusing extensively on what's wrong, on problems that they want Agile ways of working to fix. Instead, green flags are when we see folks taking those challenges and problems and flipping them into what's wanted instead. We often take a solutions-focused coaching approach or an asset-based approach, which is all about focusing on building on what the team or organization are already doing that's agile. If you have read James Clear's Atomic Habits, you will recognize his hypothesis that the best way to create behavior change is to focus on changing the way that we think about ourselves. So rather than focusing on changing processes or changing people's behavior directly, our goal is to support individuals, leadership, teams, organizations to see themselves as agile and build from there. The fourth red flag is when we see people spending a lot of time talking and planning how they will implement agile ways of working. This can often create fear and worry. So if we hear people saying, I need to understand exactly what this looks like before we start, that's a great red flag to just pause and start to think about how you can support those people to start small, for example, with a cross-functional team, with a small project or piece of work, and build and learn from there. So the green flags that we're looking for are getting started quickly and learning through reflective practice as you go. You can hear a great example of that in our third podcast episode with Prostate Cancer UK about how they kick-started their organisational-wide agile transformation by focusing on one digital fundraising product. The fifth Agile red flag is when we sense that things being messy is a significant concern. We might notice people trying to copy what other people have done, other teams or organisations, taking a blanket approach to embedding agile ways of working, perhaps taking a purely top-down approach, or trying to create waterfall detailed plans for how agile will be embedded. Instead, green flags we look for are when folks have an understanding that it will be messy at the beginning, that the best way to understand what works for their organisation or team is by trying some things, reflecting and learning from them.